Gary Shteyngart, the author of Super Sad True Love Story. Gary, the most stunning, shocking, controversial part of your book is your portrayal of social media in the future. In this wonderful novel, you portray a world in which everyone knows everything else about everybody immediately, as soon as they come across them with these devices that you call apparats in your book. I just want to quote one wonderful sentence. It's on page 210 in the book. The woman goes into a clothes store. She finds out about the woman serving, and I'm quoting, she said, she didn't have a boyfriend at present, but enjoyed the reverse cowgirl position with the last one, an aspiring young media stud from Great Neck. Now, I'm not sure about the aspiring young media stud from Great Neck, but do you see this world, this Facebook intense world of the future in which everyone knows everything about everybody? Is that realistic, or is it just a fictional vanity?
No, it's not fictional at all. In fact, looking at my Facebook page, some people have posted some devices that are already being developed that resemble this device, the Apparat, that is worn as a pendant around the neck of every character in this future world. It's already in development, and what it does is basically as you walk around, you are being ranked by everybody for your attractiveness, your credit rating, and everything like that. So I think that that's another example of something that's already very highly in development. I mean, look, you know, even without that kind of device, I'm being ranked nonstop. We're all being ranked nonstop. I mean, I have a credit rating when I applied for my mortgage last year. I have an Amazon rating for all my books. I have you know, there's sites like ratemyprofessor.com where you can rate your professor. And because I teach at Columbia, I can be rated there. So wherever you go, we are being ranked more and more. And part of that is because we live in an ever-increasing, in an ever-competitive society. America is no longer slated to be the world's #1 country forever in terms of its economic growth for certain. So we are scared, and we find comfort in these numbers, in these incessant rankings. But what they do, of course, is, you know, how do we know who we really are if all we are is a series of numbers?
Why did you use the concept of the apparat? Was it your way of suggesting that Orwell and the Soviet Union wasn't just the past, but also the future?
Right. There is a word in Russian, apparatchik, which refers to an individual who is part of the apparatus of the state government, meaning well, partially the KGB, for example. There's a lot of Soviet influence in this book, and there's a lot of influence of other dystopian fiction, for example, George Orwell's 1984. The interesting thing about 1984 as compared to the present is that in the past we feared a kind of intrusive government force, Big Brother, for example, spying on you from every angle. But with the advent of this new technology, Big Brother can sort of go on vacation or retire for a very long time, because all the information, we're already putting it up for any government, or more effectively for any corporation that wants to know anything about us. And the younger one is, I think, the more one doesn't have those gates to block personal stuff about oneself. So when I was researching this book, I was looking at a lot of pages, web pages, Facebook pages. At that point, there was also MySpace and Friendster, some of this other technology that's already history. But what amazed me was just how much I could find out about, you know, Debbie Johnson living in, you know, Virginia Beach or whatever, and I could just find out almost anything, all the personal stuff that make up, especially a young person's life. Everything was there for me to see. So we are now co-opted into a kind of Big Brother society by the fact that the more we share about ourselves with the world, the more popular we are, and the more that popularity creates a sense that we are loved, which I don't think is the case.
What becomes of the human condition when we do away with privacy?
Well, I think what we can expect is a kind of, first of all, I think we have a feeling that we are being unique individuals. You know, the internet wants to celebrate the wacky and the unique, but I think in some ways there's a kind of conformity that I find when I read people's Facebook pages, because it is for everyone to see, or for a very large group of people to see. What you want to do is to create a sense where even your non-conformism falls within the lines of what's acceptable or not for your peer groups. So there's actually somehow, with all our lives being broadcast for all to see, maybe there's even less room for experimentation than there was before. Despite all the new vistas that this technology is supposed to be opening, I kind of find, and in this book too, there's a kind of conservatism and fear that I think exists in future generations. And a lot of that comes from just the fact that, of course, this country for over a century and a half, has set the agenda for the world, has been the predominant power and the predominant culture. And now that that is being challenged, I think we are all fearful of what the future will hold. And technology offers us a sense that we are in control. But I do not really think that our control over our mastery over our lives and over ourselves has increased at all.
So what you're saying is that one of the casualties of the digital is individual eccentricity.
Sure. I mean, I read books by authors of the 20th century. You know, you look at Allen Ginsberg, the poet, for example. You look at William Burroughs, the writer. I mean, who are our Burroughses or our Ginsbergs today? Who just struts out and with such force and power transforms the way we look at the world, you know? I don't know if, you know, if Zuckerberg is the equivalent of our William Burroughs or Allen Ginsberg. I think this technology is maybe something will come along where this technology is used to produce something that is so insightful and so shockingly true to the human condition. And when that happens, I'm going to take back everything I've said today, and I'm going to burn all the printed matter in my own home and celebrate the digital revolution. But until now, I don't think it has happened, at least for me.